Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Now in this video I would like to talk about troubleshooting Fusion 360, and there are two categories I would like to focus on. One is if you're trying to start Fusion 360 and it won't start. The second one is performance issues. Let's talk about the first one. If you're trying to start Fusion and it won't start, that's usually because some of Fusion's files has been corrupted, or maybe it's been blocked by an antivirus or maybe firewall or something like that. So the first thing to do is disable antivirus, firewall, or any kind of software that protects your computer and try to restart it. Now there could be a situation where it's not going to help, and what you're going to have to do is disable those softwares, then uninstall Autodesk Fusion 360 and then reinstall it again, because could be that while the antivirus was running and you install Fusion, it already blocked some of the files. So it is good practice in general when you're installing softwares is to disable your antiviruses, because it could sometimes detect it as suspicious software and then block some of the files. So you should try that first. Second is also make sure your internet is working properly in general when you're doing the installation. And yeah, so these are these three things that you should be aware of. So if it's happened suddenly, then maybe again you should try to check your antivirus, because it could be an update your antivirus just got and it decided to block Fusion. So start with that, and then of course you have in general your operating system. There could be some issues over there, so just make sure your operating system is working fine. And yes, so if you have another computer, you can always test Fusion over there, and then you can see that it's actually working or not, and then this way you can figure out exactly where the issue is. Now the second one is performance. Performance could be a little bit tricky, but in general, again, we have to figure out, is it something that started already in the beginning, right after you installed Fusion, yes or no? If not, for example, we're talking about a specific file, then it's relatively much easier to detect, because then you can figure out exactly what's going on with that file. For example, make sure that you don't have any red arrows or no warnings. Second, it depends on the complexity of the files. Some files are very, they're huge, very complex, and that can take a lot of resource from your machine. For example, if you have a sketch file with a lot of complex sketches, which is not a good practice in general. It's much better to divide all the sketches to multiple sketch files instead of one huge one. That's going to be much better relief on on Fusion in general. So you have to make sure that you don't have any errors. And the second one is the file size and complexity. The third one, you should go into display settings. You cannot see the window. I'll try to see if I can increase it a little bit so you can see it. Now just a second. I'm just going to move it a little bit up. Hopefully you can see it. You have the effects. Let me just fix it so you can see it more clearly. You have the effects over here. Now, as you can see, I have disabled the object shadow, but in general also the anti-aliasing. This is something that it can take a lot of resource from your computer, depending again on the size of this assembly. So disable that, or you can also disable all of them and then enable them one by one, and then you can see which of the effects takes also resources from your Fusion. And then usually best practice is to disable as many as you can, because you don't really need them during your designing. And then in the end, when it's ready to rendering, then you can just turn them back on. But during the designing, you're moving the parts a lot, so it doesn't really matter that if you, for example, you don't see the lines. As you can see here now, I changed it, they're not nice and smooth, so it doesn't really matter that much. But later on, as you can see now, it changes, you can just turn it back on and it should improve the performance in general. So yeah, so this is it for that one. Yes, and again, you can always, if you have again another computer, you can always open it over there and then try to figure it out what's going on. Another thing is, if it's a general issue, suddenly it doesn't matter which file you're opening and there are performance issues, it's a general one, then you need to check out your hardware. You need to check out what's running on the background, if there is something that takes a lot of resources from your CPU while you're working with Fusion, because Fusion relies a lot on the CPU, but on the viewport over here it uses the GPU, your graphic cards. And if you don't have, for example, a good graphic card, then you're gonna have some performance issues when you're trying to orbit the model. So it's gonna have some issues over here. It's gonna be quite slow. So make sure also that's working. In Windows it's very easy to see it, and I think also in Mac it's relatively easy. You can just always click on the CPU over here, then you can see what takes if something is actually running and takes a lot of CPU resources and other performance. You can see it also over here. You can go also to your GPU and see what's going on over here. Maybe something else is taking a lot of resources, and that can help you actually to narrate things down. Another thing is also to update. Make sure for example, your graphic card's driver is updated. Maybe something is wrong over there. Now, and if all of these troubleshootings tips didn't help, then you can go into Fusion 360 forum and note what you have already tried, because otherwise I'm also there and many others who wants to help you. They will ask you, have you tried this, have you tried that? So you can already tell them, yes, I have tried that, and I have all the things that you have tried. And then of course you can add the file if it's regarding specific file, and then we can help you troubleshoot it further. So yeah, so just to sum up everything, if again Windows, if Fusion doesn't really start, make sure you don't have any antivirus that's running, actually disable them. Or if you know how your antivirus works, so Firewall, then you can just exclude Fusion 360 from in the system over there. Just exclude it, so the antivirus is not gonna look over there. Just imagine it's like at the airport when you go in, so you have the security, they checking everyone. Then if you are someone special and you can get some kind of exclusion, so you don't have to go through the security, you can just bypass it. So it's the same idea. So you just add the exclusion. And yes, and again, performance, make sure hardware, make sure again that there are no warnings down below in the history line. Okay, it's very important. I've seen many times people especially with arrows, with the red markers. This is really not good. That can affect performance. And yeah, and visual effect, of course, again, just disable them and try to see if it works. So I hope those quick tips will help you troubleshoot the issues. And if not, again, use Fusion 360 forums. So good luck, guys. Bye bye.